All right, it's Gemini reading. Hi Gemini, this is Seth from Comingouttarot. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This is a reading for Gemini with a full moon for October 24th, 2018. Our effort here is to help you better understand what's the obstacle in your way during this full moon, how you can overcome it, and how you can be more mindful during this time. So we're going to get started here in just 1 second. I'd like to make sure that I know I've got these shuffled the right way. We're almost there. All right. Here we go. So, Gemini, obstacle for this full moon is, this is Kali, this is the Mother of Swords, how you can overcome it. This is Percival, or the Son of Cups. And how can you be more mindful during this time? This is the Moon. All right, couple things here. You're water heavy during this time, Gemini. Not surprising. We're already in a high emotional state, and this is only going to exacerbate that as the full moon gets closer and closer. I think what's interesting, though, is that this is really, Gemini, going to open, this is kind of like opening third eye for you. I think it's going to be a very intuitive, psychic time for you, and it's also going to be a very powerful time where you can make of your life or destroy for your life whatever you want. So that's one of the biggest challenges, actually, to have Kali show up in an area of obstacle, is struggling to know, are you actually creating, or are you destroying? What is it that, what state are you in, and which way are you headed? Are you trying to get rid of a bunch of crap and just have it all be taken away? Or are you trying to take the ashes of something and rebuild something new? So at which stage are you in? I think being on the fence during this time makes it extremely challenging to know how to approach the next stage of your life. What's interesting to me about Kali here is that she is taking control of, and as an obstacle, I think you're overbearing during this time, Gemini. I think you're pushing everyone in the direction that you'd like them to go, but they start to see you as someone who is too much, who's too pushy, who's trying to drive them to overwork versus someone who's collaborating with them and helping them be successful, because people want to help you because they want to be a part of this driving force of energy that you have, but it's starting to turn into a bit of a taskmaster versus someone who's leading. So in the effort to create all the things you ever wanted, you may end up destroying some things. So we're going to take that to that level. So how do you actually approach that? And that's what our Son of Cups is here for. Excuse me. Slow your roll a little bit, smell the roses, appreciate those who are around you. And in fact, for those of you who have trouble with that mother figure in your life, you can give them a moment of recognition for what they're able to achieve that is actually helpful for you. It may be hard for you to see them as a human being with skill and talent, but if you can, be in all of it for a minute. There's a reason that they've lived this long, and there's a reason they're doing what they're doing. So if they're around, they're helping you, they've got some skill and talent that can actually be of use to you. The question is, are you going to drive them to the point of hating helping you, or are you going to actually honor the fact that they're with you and recognize all of that skill, talent, and work for what it is? You know what else is interesting here, Gemini, is I think this is going to carry on longer than some other signs. Like, we're going to go through some moon phases where you're going to have this approach. This isn't a one and done. So this is when it starts, as the moon begins to wane, and even as it starts to wax, you're going to still be going through this experience. Okay, how can you be more mindful during this time? This is the moon. This is a perfect time, Gemini. Kind of like the last time, this is a perfect time for ritual. If you're someone who practices full moon ritual, I mean, just the fact that the moon card is showing up as mindfulness is just doubling the intensity of the moon itself. So be more mindful of your emotional state, your psychic state. If you're someone who has psychic awareness, skills, abilities, it's going to be full tilt coming into the full moon. So I would encourage you to find something that will ground you and protect you. Otherwise, you could be overwhelmed. I would also encourage you to think about where you're headed during this time. So mindfulness around what's the future, how are you thinking about getting there, how to protect yourself psychically, and that your emotions are going to be like super, super intense and high just during this full moon. And how can you help yourself be more aware of the emotional state that you're in? If you're utilizing those practices, I think it's going to help benefit the relationship that I was talking about earlier. I think it's going to help you find another way to work with and deal with the people in your lives who are helping you, so that you're not pushing them away, you're actually pulling them towards you. I think it's possible here. It's just going to be a challenge because you don't know what you're doing. You really don't know that you're pushing people away. The quintessence of all of this, Gemini, is 8. It's the Strength card. At least for me, I don't use the other version where it can be Justice. So Strength card. So underpinning all of this is, just like I was saying before, ritual and what keeps you emotionally grounded and in control. So I would encourage you to find those rituals, to find those practices that you can use to help keep you aware of and in control of your emotional state, so that you can use it to your advantage, Gemini, instead of pushing that emotional state so far that it pushes people away. All right, I hope this is helpful. If it is, please hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep track of each other. I'd also love to hear about your experience during this full moon. So leave me some comments, either leading up to, during, or after the full moon, about how this is working out for you. I hope that it's not as intense as it sounds, but it's probably gotta be, because Gemini, things are kind of like Cancer. Things can be pretty intense for you. So I understand. I hope this will help you be in a state that is allowing you to work with what's going on, rather than riding the wave into a wave that's just going to create a bunch of conflict for you. All right. Thanks, Gemini. Talk to you soon.